Welcome to Inadequate Mother. I am not doing a solo episode this week. I am kind of begged for one of my, I'm going to say long-time friends. We haven't seen each other in a long time, but she is in fact an interpreter and a single mom. So I was like, babes, let's jump on and do a podcast. Kat, welcome.
Thank
to
you.
Inadequate Mother.
Thank you.
So today's episode, it's going to be for anyone that wants insight into feeling inadequate because you can't get pregnant. Let's just put that out there. So I was thinking, what can we talk about, babes? There's when you haven't seen each other in like 13 years, we've literally talked for 2 hours already. So Kat, you've shared like with me how it was a struggle for you to get pregnant, and now you're a mom, and now you're a solo, not single, because we'll touch on that. She doesn't call herself a single mom. The language we use to describe ourselves has changed. I've started to use solo a little bit more, but I've always been a single mom. And yeah, so that's a journey you're now starting, whereas I'm just kind of finishing. Tell me a background on yourself in terms of like, when did you know you wanted to become a mom?
Yeah.
Were you... Because I think you were quite young, weren't you? You knew your shit when you were young. I remember meeting you.
Yeah, when I met you, so we were 21, 22-ish.
Yeah. I wasn't. I was loud.
I was already broody because my mum had me at 21.
Yeah,
so naturally I wanted a baby. And my partner at the time said, no, absolutely not. So on my 22nd birthday, I bought my dog. And that became my baby.
Oh.
So that's why I got Lexi. So fast forward all these years, 28, been in a relationship for a couple of years. That's when I knew I was ready. That's when I wanted to be a mum.
28 is when you were ready.
So 28, moved to London with my partner. I knew that's when I wanted to be a mum. So, but I can't remember how I knew, but I knew I had fertility problems. So I thought, let me get straight to it. I'm going to go to a fertility specialist, Harley Street in London.
How did you know you had fertility problems?
Good question. I can't actually remember, but I think, I don't know if I was trying for a little while and it didn't happen, I think. So I thought, let me check what's going on. I think that's what I did, if I'm honest. Or there was just kind of a feeling.
I think I just kind of get that. Yeah, I think you would get that.
Yeah. Something just told me, go get checked out. I thought, let me go private, then I'm straight to it. I can just get checked. And then he found out one tube was blocked and one was damaged.
Right.
So he said, give it a year. You might get pregnant on the side that's clear. If you don't, you need to do IVF. And even if you did get pregnant, it could be ectopic, which means it gets stuck in the tube and then you have to terminate anyway. So when the year goes on, I start IVF. Thankfully on NHS, really lucky to be able to do that. So I did a round of IVF, which was brutal. So for those that don't know, you have to have injections every day in your stomach or in your leg every day. So your hormones are like this.
Who does the injection? Feel like your body wasn't working and you're daily having to...
Yeah, 100%. You feel less than because you can't just get pregnant naturally like everyone else around you. And back then, I don't feel like people were talking about IVF as much. Yeah. So there was probably other IVF mums and IVF babies, but I didn't know.
Yeah, and there wasn't social media as well, so there was no one talking to you about it. So you were just going through it. And I don't remember you talking.
I didn't tell many people about it. I kept it to myself because I think it was like a 20% chance of conceiving through that. I think it was something like that. So you have to keep it to yourself because you don't know how it's going to go.
And the NHS paid for this.
NHS
Are they still paying for?
It's cut down dramatically because a midwife friend of mine said 1 out of 3 people, so including men, have fertility issues. So cannot conceive.
What is the biggest cause of fertility issues in men? I'm
not sure about with men. A lot of people think it could be environment, chemicals, pollution, all sorts, but I don't know really what it is down to. But it's 1 in 3 in total. So NHS are cutting it, but me and my partner at the time were lucky enough to have it on NHS. But they only managed to get one, embryo. And even then they called me to say, we've got no embryos. And my heart was broken, like literally broken. And then 40 minutes later, she rang me back and went, unsurvived. So even that on its own was a roller coaster. So I had this one tiny embryo put back in. And of course it didn't take, it wasn't strong enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was awful. I kind of knew it wasn't going to work, but you still kind of go on that roller coaster ride. And then lockdown happens. So the second round didn't go ahead.
So when you had the embryo put into you, was that almost like you're waiting for your, because I know when you're like trying for a baby, you'll have a baby and then you're thinking, has it took, all the times you're having sex and things like that, did it go in, is my body reacting? Were you having the same thoughts, or was it completely different?
You're on a hyper about it. So even the car journey from the hospital home in the taxi, every little bump you think, what if that's affected it? And you do everything, not drinking out of plastic bottles and not drinking caffeine, and you know, worried if you go for a run, is that going to affect your chance, or is that going to stop it from taking? And then you can blame yourself on X, Y, and Z. So it's psychologically, it's a process. It's a big process.
Did you have therapy?
I think they offered it. I don't think I took it at the time. I don't think I took it.
Do you think if you taken the therapy, would that be like a kind of a defeat? Were you still in like, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to get
Yeah, because
pregnant?
in my head, I knew I had 3 goes on the NHS for my borough in London. I had 3 goes.
Right.
So I was like, it's okay, round 2. Most people take round 2, they get your hormone levels right, they get your shots right. I'll get it round 2. So yeah, I hadn't accepted that. I thought round 2.
Yeah.
But didn't get to round 2. So lockdown happens, and like so many people around the world, that was make or break relationships, wasn't it? Which was a great thing. That held a mirror up to my face to say, girl, you gotta go.
Why did we all break up with one another in COVID? Like, what?
People got together too in COVID.
They did, but like, what were we all doing before COVID came?
I don't know. Sitting in relationships we weren't supposed to be in. Sitting in toxicity.
I don't know, because I mean, I was in love with my partner, but it was long distance, and a travel ban came into play, and like, you can't do a long distance relationship with isolation and travel bans. Like, it's flipping laughable what the hell went on. But yeah, so you, I suppose, are relieved that it didn't take, or...
Yeah, definitely. When that finished, I thought, thank God, that was not meant for me. I thanked God.
Really?
He was watching me, because that would have been awful. I don't think we would have co-parented well. I think it would have been toxic. I think it wouldn't have been good at all. So I'm so relieved it didn't happen. So then I buy my own place, and as that's being built, I bought off plot in London. As that's being built, I'm doing therapy, because I'm not dealing with it. Yep.
So I know you were just, when I met you, I remember thinking, this girl's young. You used to cook food like you were bloody 45 years old. I mean, you know, when you're at uni, everyone's eating pot noodles, or you're just kind of meeting these youngsters and what have you. But you were still quite young, but then you just operated in such a mummy way. And obviously I was a mum. So I was like, I really connected with you, even though you weren't a mum, but you could tell that you had that mum in you.
Yeah.
So I can completely understand.
Well, I moved out young, which is probably why you're seeing that. I moved out at 17, so I learned how to cook. I was very independent from a young age. Worked from 13, moved out at 17. So,
and I think also as women that there is definitely I don't know if it's a hormone or something, but you know if someone's maternal. I was definitely that girl as well. Like, I couldn't wait to be a mum, and I saw that in you.
Yeah.
So that breaks my heart that you had to go.
But I'm kind of glad I'm glad it went that way, because I got to build my career quickly, and I got to travel the world. So I got to do all that and then get to that place. But it was a horrible place. It was dark. My therapist talked me through it and said, you have to treat this as a loss. You not having kids is a loss. You have to grieve it. You have to accept it. You have to go through that process of grief and get to the other side where you just feel at peace with it. And that took a lot of therapy to get to.
So what are the processes of grief? Because is there like 5
There's like 5, yeah. I can't remember exactly. And one common thing people think is it has to go in order, but it doesn't. It can jump and it can come back, and it goes in waves.
Right, okay.
But I felt I got to a place of acceptance, and I felt a sense of peace. So then moved into my first place that I bought, having a hot girl summer, should I say. And that's how I met Zion, my son's dad. Working at a restaurant.
So, yeah, spoiler alert, she is a mom.
Spoiler alert, yeah. 6 weeks in, I fell pregnant. After meeting him, and not only did I fall pregnant, I fell pregnant from the block side.
How do they know? Did you test results now? Have they done some new and improved pregnancy tests where they can tell which side you're pregnant on?
I am telling you. So because I had it in my head that the doctor said you have to go and get checked early, 5 or 6 weeks, go for a scan, because if it's ectopic, it's dangerous. It can kill you, ectopic pregnancies. So you have to check it out then, because if it is ectopic, you have to terminate straight away. So I just went private. I know. God. I found somewhere I went to a place in London, Canary Wharf. I had a private scan done at 5 weeks pregnant. I'm surprised they could even see it. And then she followed the path. You could see it on the screen. You could see like the lines, and said, yeah, that's come from your right side, whatever the word was. I jumped up. I said, no, it couldn't have. No, impossible. She went, it has, look. And it took. Yeah.
So when they say these babies that come after IVF miracles, yours definitely was, because it was 100%. On your blog site.
100%.
But would you say, because this is something that I definitely would feel, because I would be so like, want a baby, I would not be taking any contraception even if I'm having casual sex with someone.
Yeah, no, I wasn't on any contraception for years because I didn't think I could get pregnant.
But what I'm saying is, I'd just be okay with the fact that if I do, I don't, and if you're not the person that you want, basically in a selfish way, I would have just been like, I want a baby.
Yeah. And I did.
So you told him that you weren't on contraception, and
he knew that, and it went very fast. I think it was more lust than love, and I was a little finessed, and I was a little naive, should we say? And like I said, hot girl summer, and it just went really quickly. And
you were, doing your thing, but you thought that motherhood wasn't an option. So.
Right, and it was already kind of rocky. We'd spent too much time together too soon. He wanted some space, and said, "I need some time." He'd stayed at mine too long, too many days in a row.
After you found out?
No, before. And he spent like a week at mine, and then he was like, I need some space. I need to do me. I'm like, okay. I found out I was pregnant during that space. Literally, day one of what I marked of a 10-day space, because I remember thinking, give him 10 days. Day one, I found out I was pregnant, and who could I talk to? I couldn't tell him. Because I hadn't had the scan. I told one friend who knew my situation too, and was just so happy for me. I told one friend. I had two people I know, Carly, one of our mutual friends, and one neighbour dream about me during that time. And this is how I know I had guardian angels, Hayley. Like, people were watching. There was something higher being who had me, because it was scary. I didn't know if it was certain. I didn't know if it would take. I didn't know if I was really pregnant. There was so much.
And you have to wait for appointments.
I had to wait for the appointment. So I did that in that period, that 10 days.
All of it in 10 days?
I think something like that. The timeline, I think, worked. Maybe a week after that. I don't know. Got him round and told him. He was obviously super shocked. Still together. But interestingly, I weren't quite accepting I was pregnant, because there's still that element of self-worth. Like, am I good enough to be a mum? Because I've conditioned myself.
In terms of your body or your... Because, like we've just said, you're a maternal person. You were ready to be a mum from like...
But I didn't think I could have kids. So there was this conditioning, wrongly done, of myself, that inner voice. Well, you're not good enough to be a mum because you can't conceive. You can't be a mum. And we don't realise sometimes we have a lot of these inner voice, that inner critic.
Yeah.
And I remember looking in the bathroom mirror and feeling that. Like, that worth level. Like, ooh, can I be a mum?
So the physical element of not being able to conceive affected your psychological and maternal element, which was there from like
100%.
Youngster, because you were born to be a mum and everyone could see it, and you were just that type of 20-year-old.
100.
And that got diminished because of the physical element of not being able to conceive.
100%.
So even when you were there with a baby in your belly, you still
it took me
felt inadequate.
Yeah. So this was like a couple of months pregnant. By 3.5 months pregnant, his dad called it off. Finished the relationship. I was 3.5 months pregnant. It was done very delicately.
Take a sigh. I just took a sigh for you, because I can imagine that was like... Okay.
It was a lot. He'd done it very delicately. He'd done it respectfully. I could see he was nervous telling me. He didn't want to wait till after the baby, which I respect now. Fully respect. He said, I'm not going anywhere, but then how do I know that? He didn't leave my side, but I'll be straight. I hit rock bottom with it, because I couldn't envision not having a partner and not having a baby. Those come hand in hand. Those were together. So suddenly for someone to, all my hormones were going crazy anyway, and I've just found out I'm pregnant, to then say, I'm out of this relationship. Yeah, I sunk. I hit rock bottom.
Just out of interest, were you raised by a single parent or...
Yeah, I was. So from 9. And my mum is like one of those super independent women too, very hands-on. It was just my dream, like we all do, with this whole, it should be a 2.1 family and a white picket fence and everything else. I think I just always envisioned it. And then for that all to happen in such a short time...
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it was probably my darkest place. To the point I signed up with a perinatal team. For people that don't know what that is, that's the mental health team connected when you're pregnant. The specialist mental health team at the hospital. Signed up with perinatal, got on their list. I got on antidepressants. I knew I needed something to lift me.
When and I'm not
pregnant? I'm not one for antidepressants. I've done a lot of therapy. I prefer that route. Got on antidepressants. I went straight back to my therapist, who I love. And because we had that relationship and she knew my history, I could literally get straight back on Zoom and be like, right, here we go. This is what's just happened.
So the same therapist that got you through grieving about not being able to conceive was the therapist that helped you get through becoming a mom.
And you've just made me see the irony in that. So, I mean... Yeah, and she was brilliant. So I did weekly therapy for about 3 months, and it was my darkest time. That I didn't want to be here. I couldn't connect with the baby. I was just looking at this belly growing. I couldn't buy anything. I could not connect. I remember I was going to have a home birth. So they come and do all your appointments at the house. And when they would come and do the heartbeat, I literally would just look up. I couldn't even connect. I didn't even want to hear the heartbeat, Hayley. That's how dark, that's how much of a dark space I was in. I was so hurt. I couldn't accept it.
So you were hurt because of the trauma of trying to conceive and then kind of grieve the potential of you not becoming a mom.
It was more the breakup.
And then the breakup.
Just so vulnerable and not knowing what's going to happen.
There's a consistency of vulnerability as well.
Yeah, it was awful that time. I did a couple of times she did the heartbeat, and I remember he spoke to her privately, like, I'm worried about her. She's not really eating. She's not connected with the baby. I refused to put a crib up in the room yet. I just couldn't. I couldn't connect. I think I started feeling better at 7 months. And thank God I jumped straight on therapy. I was on antidepressants, and I finally felt light at the end of the tunnel and thought, I can do this, I accept this, I'm okay. And by that point as well, his dad had proven, he was always there, he would come and stay on the sofa, we had clear boundaries, never crossed them, and we built up a friendship. Actually built up a friendship, so there's no baggage. We built up a friendship which became our foundation to co-parent. But it was definitely probably the hardest time I've ever gone through.
So I'm interested in taking antidepressants when you're pregnant, because you've just said that you didn't connect, you weren't connecting with the pregnancy, the baby. And I know from experience when I've taken antidepressants that there's almost like it almost feels like a numbness, like you're able to function a little better because you're not as aware of how down you are, which is great, but then also the numbness can potentially, did it affect the emotions needed to connect? Do you think that played a part? Or like, so when did you come off the antidepressants? And the reason why I wanted you to talk about this is because I imagine there's so many women out there that are on antidepressants and pregnant, and I'm pretty sure they would try and deter you from that until after pregnancy. So like what are the criteria of going on to antidepressants when you're pregnant, and any insight into that?
I think as long as you're in good health, the doctor is always skeptical to do it. I have a very good friend, one of my best friends is a experienced midwife, so I spoke to her about it, and she was like, it's absolutely fine to be on them. The doctors will feel a bit hesitant, so that's why they refer you to perinatal to sign it off. So that was the route. But yeah, I think there's a lot of stigma and like whatever about it, but I knew I had to. It was literally make or break. I had to get through it. I stayed on them even though I was fine from 7 months, and that's when I started connecting, because it's all hand in hand, isn't it? It's all hand in hand, and that's when I started getting excited and connected and had a great pregnancy, and I felt that I thrived through it from that point. I deliberately kept on the antidepressants for 2 or 3 months after Zion was born, because obviously hormones are going to be crazy. And my midwife said, no, that's a good idea. Do that, because at least you're steady, and then when you're feeling a bit more like yourself, you can slowly just cut them out and then come off them. So that's what I did. I knew I didn't need them towards the end, but I just wanted to keep that equilibrium. So I was straight,
So can you relate to that feeling of numbness that the tablets give you?
I don't know, because I was in such a low place, it could have caused that. I don't know. I just couldn't connect because I couldn't accept reality.
But you definitely didn't feel a numbness when he was born? No.
No.
What did you feel when he was born?
It took me a minute. I couldn't hold him straight away because I had an emergency C-section in the end. So it went from home birth to emergency C-section real quick. So I was exhausted, but yeah, that was a whole journey.
You had to get into hospital from home?
Yeah.
Oh, babe.
Yep, I had hyperstimulate contractions, which means you don't have like little ones and then they build up. They're just on high from go, and that's it.
God.
Yeah, it was intense. So I just waited on the epidural and then I was calm. But yeah, he was stuck in other problems and stuff. So C-section, exhausted, but then eventually held him, and yeah, of course, connection's there, isn't it? And it builds. I don't think it's straight away like a massive connection, because you're meeting someone new for the first time, and I think there's too much focus on that. And then that makes us feel less than, like we're meant to have this instant, you have to build that relationship with this little person that you've just met.
And
so
build
much
your
pressure
relationship with yourself again.
Yeah, this whole new person.
You have, it's an identity, not even just identity, like it's like when you said you had to mourn the loss of potentially not being able to become a mom. When moms have to mourn the loss of their old former selves.
100%. And there's a culture, I can't remember where it's from, I saw it on social media. There's a culture, I think it's an Asian culture, but I can't remember where from, where the women in the family will come and mourn the mum and like cry for the mum when the baby's born.
Really?
Yeah, and almost do like a kind of funeral type proceedings to kind of welcome in this new chapter.
I need
and
to
help
know
her
what
deal
this
with that.
culture
I
is.
do too, we need to Google it.
If anyone knows what this culture is or where this ceremony happens, I need to know
Yeah.
more about this, because that's amazing.
Yeah.
I would love for Western cultures to do things a bit more like that. We're
Yeah.
the most unspiritual culture ever, like British
100%.
people. And it's only since, I think, tapping into other cultures and understanding spirituality that I've been able to understand myself as a mom a little bit more. You've gone on this kind of healing journey, had IVF, and then conceived naturally, and now you call yourself a solo.
I would say solo, single parenting. Right, so we'll back up on that one.
So I've done an episode, I don't know if you've watched it, where I literally discussed, it's probably a really cringy one because it's just me waffling on, but I remember I got some real negative comments about calling myself a single mom or a solo mom, and they were like, no, the dad's there, the kids have got a dad, he's around, you're not single, it's not classed as single. Firstly, language is subjective to where you're from. We inherit language. So I was raised by a single mom who called herself a single mom. So obviously, if my scenario is the same as the person who called herself a single mom and raised me, I'm going to call myself a single mom. So it's subjective to what you take the meaning of. We're interpreters. We understand that the meaning doesn't live in the dictionary, the meaning lives in whatever your intention is. And but she came at me, babes.
Yeah.
Proper came at me. And I was
that's
just like,
keyboard warriors.
like, are we not supposed to be supporting one another here? And I think there was a little, like, I can understand the resentment from, like, a mom, you know, who does it all. Going, you don't do it all. You have a weekend off and you've got support. So you're not a single mum. I'm a single mum.
Yeah.
I get it. But co-parent for me, not really co.
And exactly, it depends on your setup, doesn't it? It depends on what you have. So because we didn't have emotional baggage, we weren't together 5 minutes. So we never had any of that where if you've been together a long time, you need space to heal before you can come back and maybe be friends, right? We didn't have that. So we built a friendship during the pregnancies. So it was always with the aim of co-parenting. For me, I think it taps into my self-worth, which probably relates to maybe some of that feedback you got, because there's a lot of projections. It's not about you, it's about that person, obviously. So for me, feeling a little inadequate, literally, again, self-worth, being a solo parent, single mum, whatever you want to call it, I couldn't adopt the narrative of single mum. I didn't like it. I didn't like the stigmatisms. I didn't like the negative social media it got. I didn't like the perception it gave of me. Again, it's all me, but I just didn't like it. It weren't for me.
You felt inadequate.
Felt inadequate with it. And his dad was there. So we're both raising his child, even under the same roof for a little while. We done it as co-parents.
But you're not doing 50-50, are you?
I mean, then when he was newborn, we'd split the night half and half.
Yeah.
You know, and I would mix feeds, so there was an option for both. No, it's not 50-50 now. I do more, of course. But I thought, what's my relationship status and my romantic involvement got to do with me being a mum when his dad is there being dad? So I struggled with it, and I wouldn't call myself single mum for a long time, once I'm co-parent or solo parent or whatever. And it was just a lot of my friends who had kids, so I'd made friends with other people with, you know, babies, children the same age. They're all in relationships. So as time's going on, I've got this baby, come weekends, like, what you up to? Let's do something. Because I have Zion on weekends, as his dad works. They're busy doing family stuff, you know, husband and wife, child. Single friends or friends with no kids, whatever, are out doing single people business. So then you're in the middle and you're in that gap, which for what feels like a long time and is a lonely place. Yes. And that knocks my self-worth because that made me feel less than compared to my counterparts, you know?
And this, I can completely... Baby, take me back.
Yeah.
So you're just at the start of your journey, and I think your identity as a mom, it's almost like it's under attack by yourself.
Yeah.
By your own perceptions of what you see, single mom, solo mom, whatever kind of mom you're trying to box yourself into. And that again, that's why I called it Inadequate Mother, because I get this tap on my back constantly going, your kids are such a credit to you. Because my kids are flipping rocking it. Like,
yeah.
No one could look down. Like, I remember being in the playground and like feeling like I had to dress up, I had to look a certain way because I was a single mom, feeling inadequate. And, you know, I had to make sure my kids had this and my kids had that. But when they started excelling and they started being academic geniuses, or, you know, winning all the gold medals, or just being beautiful, charismatic, stealing the room, I'd be like, yeah, that's my kid. And then it was almost like a get out of jail card. You don't have to feel inadequate now because look at what you're making.
Yeah.
And I don't want mums that don't have kids that tick all those boxes, do all the academic things and the sports days, and I don't want mums to feel less and like kind of like judge their self-worth based on their kids' accolades, because that's not how it should work. Like, we shouldn't feel less.
That's what we do as adults. We measure success on productivity. We do it daily. If we have a lazy day, instantly it's a lazy day because we've done nothing. It's not self-healing, it's not rest, no, it's being lazy. And then we do that same projection with our kids, I guess.
It's a lot we have to process as mums, and from going from, I cannot believe you've had to process all of this since I've seen you.
For real.
Like, there was me thinking, I'm going to get my interpreter friend here, we're going to talk about being an interpreter, but you've just gone on a journey, babe.
It's been a journey, and that's only the last few years. And then within that, which every mum goes through, is that identity crisis. For me, I've always been high-flying, career woman, and I identify with that. I'm like, yeah, I'm Kat, I'm a BSL interpreter. I qualified at 24 as a trainee, fully qualified 25, 26. And that's always been my identity of traveling the world. And if I want to do something, I will do it, and I will get it. And I think will start me, I'm very tenacious with it. So then having a child, suddenly you can't run that same race. You can't sprint. It's a hurdle, you know, literally. And then I feel like I'm making excuses, and it's not excuses. And I still battle with that. I saw a great video on Instagram the other day showing the difference of how you can't do everything with kids and how it's okay. So you had, on a racetrack, you had the mum, no kids in her hands, nothing, just ready to run, and the dad holding the 2 kids. And then it was 3, 2, 1, go. And the mum sprinted to the end, and the dad stumbling. And the whole point was to say, you can't do things at the same pace you used to, and that's okay. And I think that's something we all struggle with, and I think that taps into our self-worth as well, compared to the old version of ourselves before we have kids.
And I think also with that, I want to touch on the difference between a mum and a dad, because whether you're co-parent or not, the mums, they do carry so much more of the load.
100%.
And in terms of my relationships, that's an area where I feel inadequate, for sure. You know, I had a relationship 18 months and it's ended like 4 months ago, and I shared a lot of it on social media, so I'm like, oh, here we go again, failed. And I know that there's parts of, not my kids, but family, whoever, friends, where my kid's dad has found an incredible woman. They've been together like 10 years. They've got a family, they've got new kids, and that's not happened for me. And that's, again, in terms of my self-worth. But when you are at that kind of race and you are holding a lot more than that other person's maybe holding, then things are going to move at a different pace. So you have got to be forgiving. And as much as I wanted to just find that family, that guy to marry and have that 2.4 that you potentially will do, I'm not going to let it make me feel any less inadequate that I haven't got it, because I did hold a lot. And it will come when it's my time. And it might not look like it's supposed to look, because there's a lot for you to take on a relationship and start a family. I feel like yours being young, though, means that, you know, you've done really well to like get to where you've got and be in this place where you could potentially just have that family and have everything you dreamed about.
Which is what I'm kind of at now. And I remember people thinking, because obviously I was single from 3 months pregnant, so you get your head around the fact that you're single, and we all have needs and we all want to have a relationship, obviously. So
physical needs are not something to be ashamed of. We are women. I think honestly sometimes, and God forbid if my kids hear this, because They will strike me down.
Obviously, I couldn't go. I was pregnant, so yeah, it had to just be a no-go
You
for me.
put the kids first before your needs, and that's just.
And then having a child, and then all the changes. So in my head, I'm ready. I want to date, but at the same time, my focus is my baby, and that can happen at the same time, and that doesn't make me a bad mum to think like that, because it's natural to want a partner. So I think I did go on my first date when Zai was like 4 or 5 months maybe, and just dipping my foot back in there, which was weird. And like, you know what, what's the expression, I don't even know, how many frogs you got to kiss, or how many fish in the ocean, I don't know. And online dating, and oh my gosh, so I'll dip in and out of that over time.
What advice have you got for that, for like single mums that are
dating?
I think
compromise your standards.
Yeah, don't compromise your standards, but also don't overthink it. Don't run away with yourself in terms of family, wanting a family. Like, just be you. And sometimes you need people to be you. You need to interact with people.
But I think also give it healing time, because I want it to happen straight away. I remember really early on thinking, I want this to happen, I want to meet my person. And I'm not super religious, spiritual, but I do believe in God. I do believe in bigger entities, in whatever format that is for people. And sometimes you hear things and get told things from whatever that is. And I do feel like God told me at 2 months, wait. Yeah. And I remember hearing just wait, just like that. And I thought, all right, so a couple of months then. In my head, that's what I thought, all right, 2 months. So I've dated on and off like that, not knowing actually I need to build myself up, focus on my child, obviously, and embrace that, which I did, and love, and of course, all of that, but then build up me as well, because you need to be 1 before you're 2 in any scenario. So that's what I did. And then I think when I was in a much more secure place, without even realising, that's when I met my person, who I met last year. And we're building up that kind of family dynamic now, which is beautiful. And he loves Zai and has a great relationship with him. But it's a journey.
I think, and like I said, that journey, it never peaks. It never it's not like you're just going to get there and you're going to not feel inadequate, or your self-worth's going to be incredible, because there's so many different chapters, like teenage years, babes. You wait till them come, and you might have more kids and things like that. But yeah, it is just twists and turns. And I just thank you for turning yourself into my street and making your way over here again to Wolverhampton. She got on the bus and she was like, I got on the front of the bus and I was really confused, because she's a Londoner.
I was like, there's no back door.
People can get off on the back in London. What is this place? I mean, country. It's not the countryside.
I'm so sorry. But it feels like country. I'm so acclimatised to London. I had to buy a ticket at the station in Birmingham. I had to buy a ticket. I hear birds. I had to buy a ticket. People say good morning to me this morning at breakfast. Honestly.
I could not live in London. No, I couldn't. But I will come and visit you and your baby.
Please do. Come visit me and Zai.
Yeah, maybe when I've had my baby. Only joking. I'm gonna have another baby.
TBC.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, and this was amazing, babe.
Most welcome.